This is not April Fool's. These are real awards. Could I get Matt Donovan, our acting secretary, to join me on stage, as well as our Chief of Staff, General Goldfein, and our Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Chief Wright. I'd like to begin today by announcing a new and very special award. Throughout our Air Force communities, we are blessed to have a dedicated corps of civilian leaders who support our bases and all of us while we live in their communities. They are vocal supporters of our mission. They are also welcoming. They feed us. They greet us. Before dating apps, they introduced us to young ladies and young women. And they are really the important people in our lives at many bases. As a result, there are many lifelong friendships between these community leaders and many in the Air Force. And today, we have another award, and that is named for Parker Green and his wife, Lucy. Lucy, would you care to come up at this point? So for decades, Parker Green and his wife, Dr. Lucy Green, took care of all of us who passed through Moody Air Force Base. And Lucy, through the Parker Green Award, we seek to honor Parker and all those like Parker and you who have made enduring and significant contributions to the Air Force, to our airmen, to our families, and the community. General Goldfein, please step to the podium and make some remarks.
Well, thanks, sir. Many of us in this room know Parker Green, but I want to share with you my favorite Parker Green story. So some time ago, he was riding in a car with the governor, and it was pouring down rain. And as they're driving down this road, there's a little lady pushing a child's carriage, a buggy, in the rain, just all hunkered over and a big hood up, you know, and the rain's pouring down on her. And then only Parker Green, as he could say, he looked at the governor, he says, you know, Governor, what a shame that that poor woman has got to walk in the rain with her buggy. Don't you think it'd be nice if we could have a sidewalk that she could walk on? The governor the next day wrote a check for a sidewalk on that entire road. So here's the question. Dr. Lucy, how much did he pay you to push that buggy in the rain? So we have a little short video to honor just an incredible legend and one of the best friends of our United States Air Force in our history. And so if you would, please roll the video.
Oh, his legacy, it's already written. Never met a stranger, always had a smile on his face. And if you didn't like pecans, you didn't like Parker.
Parker Green makes us want to be better men and women, to live up to a higher standard, to love and care for airmen as much as he did, and to give with no expectation of getting anything in return.
Parker was the patriarch, I think, of Moody Air Force Base. I think that Moody Air Force Base is here still because of Parker.
Well, Parker Green was my friend, and he was a friend to thousands and thousands of thousands of other people, both in our Air Force and out. Every airman he met, he did something for. I have no idea how much money he and Miss Lucy spent taking care of airmen and their families. I have no idea how many people he took to lunch or to dinner or to breakfast, or he sent peanuts to, or Vidalia onions, which he sent to me the first time I ever talked to him on the phone.
Parker set the example for the way communities and Air Force bases, military bases, should come together and work together as a team. And I can say sitting here today that Moody Air Force Base might not be here if it hadn't been for Parker Green and Miss Lucy, because they worked themselves continually through BRAC, all the base closures. We will never really understand the impact that Parker and Lucy Green had.
I'm not sure we can measure the full impact that he had on Moody Air Force Base, other than the fact that Moody Air Force Base is still here, it's thriving, and it has a constant, very important mission for our nation. I mean, he was key to keeping this base alive and key to everything that's going on here at Moody Air Force Base.
So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of a celebration of life, of an incredible man who makes us all want to be better men. May God bless this nation we love, and men like Parker Green, who teach us all what a life of service, well lived, really means. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to, as soon as we do this, offer Lucy a few moments at the podium. Let's do this first.
Parker and Lucy Green have been among the most influential civic leaders and advocates the Air Force has ever known. He was a leader, an air power advocate, and a trusted counsel of other senior leaders across the Air Force and government. As a respected and influential liaison and spokespeople, they constantly worked with communities, the Air Force, and our military across local, state, and federal government levels. For over 4 decades, they increased national awareness and understanding of the Air Force's role in national security and helped build vitally important grassroots support for its people and their mission. Their dominant message to every Air Force leader they encountered was, "What can we do for you?" The Air Force Association takes great pride in presenting the first W. Parker Green Legacy Award to Dr. Lucy Green.
I love you all for what you do every day. I want to share this award. I have so many people who have helped us over the years, and Parker would be embarrassed and humbled, and I'm excited and honored, and I'm sorry that he's not here with us, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I need to ask some of you to join me today in setting this award in place. I want Commander Walls and Commander Birch and their airmen from Moody Air Force Base to stand with me, please. Then I'd like our mayor, just stay up if you will, please. And Mayor Gale from Valdosta, who represents our local administration. Stay up, John, if you will, please. Members of the Moody Support Group who are here, scattered about, would you please stand? Larry, Spam, thank you so much. And now I want to have all the people who are members of support committees across the country, supporting our brave airmen all across this great nation. Would you please stand with me? Wait now, stay up because we're going to join with some other people, please. And then I want all those who have commanded Moody and all those who have ever served at Moody to please stand. Now, all those who have ever served in the Air Force or are serving presently in the Air Force with spouses and families and industrial partners, as we support the world's greatest air, space, and cyber force, dominant. Let's stand together.
Okay. Well, I really want to thank all of you in the audience who are community leaders. You really are essential, and we really appreciate, from an AFA and an Air Force perspective, all of you do. Now, we're going to go on to the rest of the program, and I'm going to turn this over to the giant voice that is off stage.
Will Mrs. Marie Sheen, Mr. Brian Bumgardner, and Ms. Connie Davis please come forward? Mrs. Sheen served with distinction by fulfilling the duties of both the Air Operations Center and the Major Command's Security Manager position for an unprecedented 11 months. She demonstrated expertise and skill with an extremely rare perfect score on a National Security Agency inspection, validating her management of the United States Air Force's in Europe Commander's highest security program and earning praise as a top security manager globally. Mr. Bumgardner's exceptional leadership was instrumental to the 25-year extension of the Trident missile, where he led 15 personnel and executed 12 sorties. Mr. Bumgardner's unrelenting pursuit of maintenance excellence, coordinating the efforts of 2 bases and 10 aircraft, drove the largest F-15C/E upgrade ever, worth $5.9 billion. Ms. Davis expertly led a team of highly skilled aircraft technicians and support personnel in a world-class maintenance organization focused on process improvement and ensuring the warfighter receives an outstanding quality product on time. In addition to her outstanding career achievements, Ms. Davis is a tireless contributor to the improvement of women's health and professional status in her role as club president of the local Zonta International Club. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Civilian of the Year Award to Ms. Connie Davis for Outstanding Senior Manager, Mr. Brian Bumgardner for Outstanding Program Manager, and Ms. Marie Sheen for Outstanding Program Specialist. Will Mr. Leroy Coe please come forward? Mr. Coe developed a complex $4 billion program budget covering 34 projects. He successfully championed a military construction project for a state-of-the-art analysis and exploitation facility, eliminating critical overcrowding. Additionally, he laid out a plan for $94 million to enhance technical signals intelligence production and freed $78 million of trade space for innovation. Finally, Mr. Crow mentored 5 Air Force PEMs, ensuring they have the necessary knowledge and confidence to defend their programs. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Lisa S. Dispro Outstanding Civilian of the Year Award to Mr. Leroy Coe, Pentagon, Virginia. Will Mrs. Elizabeth Dubé please come forward? Mrs. Dubé personified servants before self in her efforts to better the Air Force community within Okinawa, and served over 19,000 airmen, families, and local residents. Her efforts led to $117,000 in donations across Okinawa with direct support of those in need. Mrs. Dubé touched the lives of countless personnel across the base and community, and she single-handedly saved the life of an airman contemplating suicide. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Joanne Orr Spouse of the Year Award to Mrs. Elizabeth Dubé, Air Force Special Operations Command. Her spouse is Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Dubé, 17th Special Operations Squadron, Kadena Air Base, Japan. Will Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Allen, Master Sergeant Kyle Wilson, Ms. Jean Ann Butler, and Mr. Matthew Bredeska please come forward? This award recognizes airmen for outstanding and innovative contributions that had the greatest impact in international affairs and were most effective in building, sustaining, expanding, and guiding international relationships. These are critical enablers for the United States Air Force Expeditionary Air and Space Forces conducting global operation. The winners are Officer Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Allen, Enlisted Master Sergeant Kyle Wilson, Senior Civilian Jean Ann Butler, and Junior Civilian Matthew Bredeska. Will Major Alexander Goldberg please come forward? Major Goldberg led the design, development, and launch of Guardian, a next-generation web-based multi-domain C2 geospatial application that enables the two-way collaboration across all echelons of command. With all government-owned source code, this non-proprietary, modular, open architecture system allows decision makers real-time sharing. Within the last 6 months, Guardian has been adopted as the best-of-breed C2 platform by over 250 federal, state, and local government agencies. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General Larry O. Spencer Innovation Award individual category to Major Alexander Goldberg, Austin, Texas. Will Colonel Enrique Oti and his team please come forward? Kessel Run will be receiving 2 awards. Kessel Run modernizes command, control, and intelligence capabilities, enhancing combat lethality across the Department of Defense. The team executes more than 18 applications and Section 804 rapid fielding efforts to continuously deliver war-winning software. They revolutionize how the Air Force builds and delivers software, charting groundbreaking commercial applications, forging new acquisition, talent management, recruiting, organizational construct, and software development processes, and leveraging cloud-native technology to build a software company to sense and to respond to conflict in any domain, anytime, anywhere. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General Larry O. Spencer Innovation Award Team category and the Theodore von Karman Award for a most outstanding contribution to science and engineering to Kessel Run, Hanscom Air Force Base, Massachusetts. Will Captain Ryan Perhala, and Senior Airman Darius Rivera please come forward. Captain Prahala led weapons school instruction totaling 459 sorties, enabling integration across 4 major commands, including the first F-35A/MQ-9 integration. His efforts have increased the combat effectiveness of the remotely piloted aircraft enterprise. These initiatives include emerging kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities and tactics, operational flight program development, and weapons carriage enhancements to the MQ-9, optimizing MQ-9 capability to provide multi-domain persistent attack supporting commanders. Sergeant Yoholm, who is not with us today, led 210 personnel to overcome a manning shortfall, surged MQ-9 operations 25%, executed 18,600 combat hours, and struck 108 targets to defeat the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Furthermore, he deployed to the AFCENT Combined Air Operations Center as MQ-9 LNO, oversaw 33 combat lines, coordinated the first ever MQ-9 strike package with Iraqi F-16Ss, and expanded air tasking orders driven strikes for more MQ-9s by 500%. Airman Rivera expertly provided intelligence analysis and mission assessments to 165 aircrew. Furthermore, he developed 186 high-value individuals representing 103 strikes and the elimination of 167 Islamic State of Iraq and Syria members. Moreover, his efforts to utilize new research and analysis tools directly impacted intelligence support to MQ-9S, increasing the unit's ability to find, fix, track, and target enemy personnel, and saving over 8,000 hours of research. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General John P. Jumper Award to pilot Captain Ryan Prahala, Sensor Operator, Senior Master Sergeant Joshua Yoholm, and Mission Intelligence Coordinator, Senior Airman Darius Rivera. Will the President of General Atomics Aeronautical Systems, Mr. Dave Alexander, please come forward? Would the representatives of the 33rd Special Operations Squadron please come forward? The Gripens flew 900 persistent attack and reconnaissance combat missions, totaling 14,500 flight hours, while being the remotely piloted aviation community's first proportionally undermanned squadron. They eliminated over 500 of the nation's most dangerous targets across 5 theaters and benchmarked a 98% success rate over 200 strikes. In conjunction with their unique reorganization internal to United States Special Operations Command, the Gripens added 6 mission certifications and increased training by 350%. The Air Force Association proudly presents General Atomics Remotely Piloted Aircraft Squadron of the Year Award to the 33rd Special Operations Squadron, Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico. General Atomics and its affiliated companies have a long record of advocating for STEM education and supporting and promoting aerospace education. The General Atomics Sciences Education Foundation funds nonprofit STEM organizations such as TutorMate and develops educational resources accessible to the local community and worldwide. General Atomics Energy Group developed a fusion education and outreach program to educate students, parents, and teachers on the STEM elements that support research and development of fusion energy. General Atomics Aeronautical Systems Incorporated and Electromagnetic Systems Groups fund and support university-level STEM programs specializing in aeronautics, astronautics, robotics, and cyber-related subjects. We applaud General Atomics and affiliated companies for their extensive commitment to aerospace education. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Citation of Honor to General Atomics and its affiliated companies. Will Major General Mark Smith please come forward? Civil Air Patrol executes numerous programs in support of its aerospace education mission. Their Aerospace Connections in Education program provides engaging and meaningful cross-curricular aerospace-themed lessons that support STEM initiatives and enrich the school curricula. Lastly, CAP has started the Youth Aviation Initiative in response to the worldwide pilot shortage and to spark interest in and to call attention to aviation and aerospace career programs. In 2018, CAP flew a record 35,316 cadets from Civil Air Patrol, the Air Force Junior ROTC program, and the Air Force ROTC. Thanks to CAP's efforts, hundreds of cadets now solo and receive private pilot licenses every year. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Hoyt S. Vandenberg Award for Outstanding Accomplishments in Aerospace Education to Civil Air Patrol. Thank you, Secretary Donovan, General Goldfein, and Chief Wright, for your assistance. Will General Mike Holmes please come forward to assist with the presentations of the next awards? Will Captain Kevin Rose and his crew please come forward? The crew of Fix 74 demonstrated superior airmanship as part of the 21st Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron, conducting sustained combat support and sensitive reconnaissance operation for coalition forces in support of U.S. CENTCOM and USCOM. Their outstanding performance ensured dedicated airborne intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance coverage, which was paramount to the execution of the coalition strike on multiple Syrian chemical weapons production and storage facilities. Often operating in austere conditions under actual IFR at facilities under fire and without the aid of tower or air traffic control guidance, the crew consistently found solutions to off-the-book problems. At other times, the crew performed their duties under imminent threat from surface-to-air missiles. The tenacity and determination of the crew of Fix 74 enabled them to execute joint intelligence preparation of the operational environment. The unwavering and relentless commitment of the crew to practice sound judgment while taking necessary risk for the sake of our allies and the United States of America reflects a distinctive and prestigious accomplishment on themselves, the 21sters, and the United States Air Force. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General Jerome F. O'Malley Award to the crew of Fix 74 off at Air Force Base, Nebraska. Will Major Jeffrey Entine please come forward? While deployed, Major Entine led 75 combat flights in the F-16 and successfully employed 43 weapons, including 7 engagements under, quote, dangerous close, unquote, conditions. He revolutionized laser rocket tactics, techniques, and procedures, doubling the F-16's hit rate and enabling 148 successful combat strikes. Finally, Major Entine guided the F-16 division through 250 test sorties, bringing combat Air Force capabilities forward 3 to 5 years. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Lieutenant General Claire Lee Chenault Award to Major Jeffrey Entime, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Will Captain Dan English and crew please come forward? The professionalism, knowledge, and technical skills of Crew 8 was instrumental in defeating adversaries in the AOR. During this period, Crew 8 supported command and control operations as well as provided dynamic intelligence collection and warning for an Air Operations Center covering 2 areas of responsibility. Additionally, Crew 8 detected ground and surface movement during Operations Inherent Resolve and Operation Freedom Sentinel. Crew 8 dynamically employed their aircraft and ensured collection assets were safely and efficiently positioned to support combatant commanders' objectives. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Airborne Battle Management Crew of the Year Award to the 128th ACCS Combat Crew 8, Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. Thank you, General Holmes, for your assistance. Will General Marianne Miller please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next award? Will Captain Victoria Perkins and her crew please come forward? Python 61 distinguished themselves by demonstrating outstanding performance while participating in aerial flight in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel. While acting as a secure radio relay, the crew refueled an AC-130 in support of a downed helicopter. The crew's dynamic response and swift action allowed safe recovery of 11 downed crew members. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Brigadier General Ross Hoyt Award to the crew of Python 61, McConnell Air Force Base, Kansas. Thank you, General Miller. Will General Arnold Bunch, Jr. please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? Will Colonel Jason Bartolome please come forward to receive 2 awards? Colonel Bartolome provided strategic direction to the $83 billion ground-based strategic deterrent acquisition category ID program, replacing the Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile. He was instrumental in creating a new model-based system engineering tools, thus allowing the government to own the technical baseline through 2075. Finally, Colonel Bartolome directed the first ever cost capability trade studies to ensure the best value for the Air Force Global Strike Command Capabilities Development document. For these outstanding contributions, the Air Force Association is proudly present the AFMC Management Award Executive Division and the General Larry D. Welch Award Officer category to Colonel Jason Bartolome, Hill Air Force Base, Utah. Thank you, General Bunch. Will General Timothy Ray please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? Will Senior Master Sergeant Thomas Podgorski please come forward? Sergeant Podgorski executed the duties of Wing Weapons Manager for an 8-month period. His exemplary leadership was apparent as he led 141 airmen during the 2018 Unit Effectiveness Inspection, where the weapons load training was recognized as a strength by the Inspector General team and directly contributed to the Wing's best results in Air Force Global Strike Command history. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Larry D. Welch Award Enlisted category to Senior Master Sergeant Podgorski, Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. Will Mr. Scott Bagnell please come forward? Mr. Bagnell supported the nuclear enterprise by organizing the infrastructure for the squadron's $2 million secure compartmentalized information facility for the network migration to a new headquarters facility. Further, he developed a software application to support the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Targeting Operation Plan revisions. Further, he led the information assurance coordination of targeting system software development in support of 7 operational intercontinental ballistic missile test launches worth $186 million. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Larry D. Welch Award Enlisted category to Scott Bagnell, Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. Will Lieutenants Van Hosen and Jedediah Simpson please come forward? Lieutenants Van Hosen and Simpson led the wing with 1,272 alert hours at the alternate command post. Additionally, their performance during Exercise Olympic Flag 2018 provided 63 hours of simulated combat operations, which resulted in 22 items and lessons learned for the 724th Air Force Missileers. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General Thomas S. Power Award for the Most Outstanding Missile Crew to Lieutenants Austin Van Hosen and Jedediah Simpson, F.E. Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming. Thank you, General Ray, for your assistance. Will Lieutenant General J. Silveria please come forward to assist with the next presentation? Will U.S. Air Force Academy Cadet Gordon McCullough please come forward? Cadet McCullough was ranked 18 out of 1,007 in academics for the class of 2020. He excelled in academic, military, and physical performance with perfect military inspection scores. He earned a 3.91 grade point average while traveling the globe perfecting his minor in the Arabic language. He researched hybrid rocket propulsion through the integration of the Einstein energy theory as a Stamps Scholar. The Air Force Association proudly presents the USAFA Cadet of the Year Award to Cadet Gordon McCullough. Thank you, General Silveria. Will Lieutenant General Brad Webb please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? Will Cadet Savannah Johnson please come forward? Cadet Johnson is a sustained superior performer, recognized leader, scholar, and volunteer. She is ranked as the top cadet in her graduating class at her detachment and ranked in the top 10% nationwide for grades and fitness. Cadet Johnson's incredible drive was recognized when she earned distinguished graduate laurels at field training, finishing in the top 1%. A respected leader, she instills confidence in her peers, makes sound decisions to improve cadet wing morale, and build strong future officers in the process. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Air Force ROTC Cadet of the Year Award to Cadet Savannah Johnson, University of St. Thomas, St. Paul, Minnesota. Will Cadet Sydney Cloutier please come forward? Cadet Cloutier showed inspiring leadership throughout the last year. She was the varsity volleyball captain as a junior, a first for Pensacola High School. She was president of the English National Honor Society, co-president of the Science National Honor Society, and had a 4.72 weighted GPA, getting her into the top 5% of her class. She is also a member of Kitty Hawk, the American Rocketry Challenge, Stellar Explorers, and the Academic Bowl. She also volunteers weekly to teach, inspire, and mentor underprivileged children, and she is the leader of her county's Backpack Project, which provides meals for 537 Title I students weekly. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Air Force Junior ROTC Cadet of the Year Award to Cadet Sydney Cloutier. Thank you, General Webb. Will Rolls-Royce North American President and CEO Tom Bell please come forward? AFA is honored to thank Rolls-Royce for its platinum sponsorship of our aerospace education programs, including the coveted Teacher of the Year program. Mr. Bell will now announce and introduce this year's award recipient.
Everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm thrilled and honored to represent Rolls-Royce in front of you today to discuss this important topic and also give the voice of God a well-deserved break. We all know the importance of STEM education. Preparing the engineers, scientists, and leaders of tomorrow is crucial for all of us, for the Air Force, for the AFA, for our very nation. And of course, STEM is critical for Rolls-Royce, too. We are engaged in advanced research in digital engineering, electrification, hypersonics, directed energy, and many other important subjects. That's why Rolls-Royce is so proud to support AFA's aerospace education programs and proud to be the exclusive sponsor of AFA's National Teacher of the Year program. All of us here have probably had some educator in our life who propelled us to where we are today. Maybe it was a teacher who was so inspiring that their presence has stuck with us, or one who encouraged us when we needed it most at a difficult point in our educational journey. Maybe it was an educator whose teaching techniques were so exciting and interesting they changed the course of our studies, our career, in fact, our lives. This year's AFA National Teacher of the Year, Michael Vargas, is such a teacher. Mr. Vargas, a 9th grade physics teacher from Pinnacle High School in Phoenix, Arizona, has been inspiring students for 19 years. Here's what some of those inspired students have to say about him. From Caitlin, a sophomore at Pinnacle High School. Mr. Vargas was an amazing and inspiring teacher. Every day was filled with learning in a fun way. He was an outstanding teacher, and with his enthusiasm, he inspired each of his students to find a love of physics. From Kaleth, a senior at Pinnacle, Mr. Vargas has opened up new possibilities for me and helped me realize my full potential in science and leadership. And finally, from sophomore Mackenzie, Mr. Vargas has been the best teacher I've ever had. He made learning more than just reading from a textbook. Mr. Vargas and his amazing teaching took my worries away and proved I could do it. Mr. Vargas is, by far, the best teacher on campus. And now, the AFA's National Teacher of the Year from Pinnacle High School in Phoenix, Arizona, Mr. Michael Vargas. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you for this opportunity to support teachers throughout the United States. Have a great Air, Space, and Cyber Conference.
Mr. Bell, thanks to you and to Rolls-Royce for your very generous and continuing contributions. Will Lieutenant General Richard Scobie please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? Will Major Sonia DeMuth and Karen Anderson please come forward? Major DeMuth deployed on the Air and Space Operations Center strategy staff, filling a short notice tasking. Major DeMuth identified staff deficiencies and drove an effort to better integrate appropriate intelligence skill sets into staff positions, providing relevant intelligence to operational support for space-focused electronic warfare units in theater. With her deployment, Ms. Karen M. Anderson reorganized a 10-member team. Through Mrs. Anderson's efforts, Major DeMuth was able to focus on performing her duties, providing relevant intelligence to operational support for space-focused electronic warfare units in theater. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Air Force Reserve Citizen Airman and Employer of the Year Award to Major Sonia DeMuth, Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado, and Karen Anderson, Lockheed Martin Space. Will Master Sergeant Peter Thompson please come forward? With the cooperation of his employer, Sergeant Thompson was able to fill a first sergeant shortfall by serving 179 days. During that time, he was responsible for 240 students, 20 cadre, and 49 assigned personnel. His team successfully built 1,000 bombs with 91% accuracy. He guided his team through 3 Iron Flag exercises, thus driving the success of DoD's largest explosive operations. As first sergeant, he managed MWR dollars for base morale events, thus enhancing the quality of life for his team. His sustained efforts across 5 MAGCOMs exceeded previous combat operation standards. His employer, Robert Burton, warden of the Dual Vocational Institution, California Department of Corrections, provided commendable support to the 940th Maintenance Squadron, First Sergeant Master Sergeant Peter Thompson when he was requested for a short notice manning assignment. Through Warden Burton's efforts, Master Sergeant Thompson was able to focus on performing his duties as First Sergeant, Air Force Combat Communications Center. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Air Force Reserve Citizen Airman Award and Employer of the Year Award to Master Sergeant Peter Thompson, Beale Air Force Base, California, and to Robert Burton, Warden, Dual Vocational Institution, California Department of Corrections. Will Captain Charles Phelps please come forward? Captain Phelps was selected to command the first A-10 mission in 6 years from Kandahar Air Base, Afghanistan, less than 24 hours after aircraft arrived in theater. He flew 43 Operation Resolute Support and Inherent Resolve combat sorties that resulted in 12 enemies killed in action. His attention to detail prevented a friendly fire incident which saved lives and averted collateral damage. As a tactical communications expert, he restored satellite communication and antennas, which enabled and reduced mission stoppage. A two-time company-grade officer and pilot of the year, he was selected for a 2019 weapons school slot. The Air Force Association proudly presents the President's Award to Captain Charles Phelps, Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. Will Colonel Sean Carpenter and the rest of his team please come forward? The 926th Wing achieved an outstanding degree of multi-domain support while associating with 9 wings, 5 major commands, and 8 combatant commands by providing high-end total force fighter and remotely piloted aircraft, space, command, control, test, tactics, training, support, and combat operations. The 926th Wing Warriors led 52 red flag exercises in various capacities and were subject matter experts for the entirety of the Air Force fighter aircraft. They were engaged in around-the-clock combat operations, which resulted in over 15,000 combat missions flown and 74 enemy combatants killed in action. And they aligned with the Secretary of the Air Force's historic decision to train the first enlisted pilots since World War II. The wing also provided critical humanitarian support during Hurricane Irma, saving 5 lives. The Air Force Association proudly presents the AFRC Unit of the Year Award to the 926 Wing, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Will Lieutenant Colonel John Stahl and his team please come forward? The men and women of the 706th provided core subject matter expertise to Nellis's mission of operational test, tactics development, and next-generation training, fielding over $8 billion of capabilities and upgrades to the combat air forces. The team also led the integration of these new capabilities into 6 Joint Chiefs of Staff directed exercises, improving the capabilities of over 3,600 units throughout the Department of Defense. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Citation of Honor to the 706th Fighter Squadron, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Thank you, General Scobie. Will Lieutenant General Scott Rice please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? Will Master Sergeant Keisha Gertner-Hatton please come forward? Sergeant Gertner-Hatton's innovative leadership optimized training and productivity for 56 members across 2 weapons shops. She overhauled the section's training program by reorganizing over 350 qualifications. Additionally, she expertly streamlined the management, tracking, and execution of maintenance processes for 485 weapons equipment items, decreasing discrepancies by 90%. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Chief Master Sergeant Dick Red Award to Master Sergeant Keisha Gertner-Hatton, 140th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Colorado Air National Guard. Will Colonel Christopher Blomquist and his team please come forward? The 148th Fighter Wing flew 2,518 sorties for 5,971 hours while exceeding aircraft mission capability and pilot mission capable rate. They deployed 43% of their personnel in support of Operations Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel. Despite intense deployment taskings, the 148th contributed 6,225 hours of community service, maintained a 93.19% retention rate, and enjoyed its 18th consecutive year of exceeding 100% end strength. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Air National Guard Outstanding Unit of the Year Award to the 148th Fighter Wing, Minnesota Air National Guard. Thank you, General Rice, for your assistance. Will General Jeffrey Harigian please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next award? Will Colonel Patricia Shank please come forward on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Foster? While Commander, Colonel Foster generated 28 Block 50 F-16s, representing the European Command's sole suppression of enemy air defense weapon system, resulting in an 86% mission-capable rate. Additionally, his team of logisticians' fueling efforts resulted in a 92% mission-capable rate, earning the 2018 American Petroleum Institute's Best Fuels Management Flight for United States Air Forces in Europe. Finally, the seasoned logistician delivered on the Chief of Staff's readiness sprint to eliminate readiness atrophy. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Thomas P. Garrity Award to Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Foster, Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany. Thank you, General Harigian. Will General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. please come forward to assist with the next awards? Will Staff Sergeant Brandon Deem please come forward? Sergeant Deem was rated number 1 of 556 crew chiefs. He trained and certified 14 new crew chiefs on 285 tasks. He was the commander's pick to lead austere field hot pit refueling operations while leading a 6-airman team to continuously refuel 16 aircraft. He led 24 airmen in Operation Distant Frontier, labeling him a superior performer. In addition, he was the commander's top performer at Red Flag. Throughout all of his responsibilities, he takes great pride in those he has trained and takes great pride in all of his assigned aircraft. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Chief Master Sergeant Thomas Barnes Award to Staff Sergeant Brandon Deem, Kadena Air Base, Japan. Will Captain Chelsea Reams please come forward? The 18th Logistics Readiness Squadron led the first operational F-35A reception, placing 5th-generation aircraft in the priority theater designated by the 2018 National Defense Strategy. Additionally, they were a centerpiece of the pressure campaign against North Korea, culminating in supporting the National Command Authority's airborne platform during the Joint Leader Summit. Finally, the squadron led the Special Operations Forces deployment that saved the lives of a 12-member Thai youth soccer team. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Citation of Honor to the 18th Logistics Squadron, Kadena Air Base, Japan. Will Captain Noah Policia and Senior Airman Erica Shaw please come forward? The men and women of the 36th Airlift Squadron were notified of the tasking to support the multinational aid effort to assist Indonesia after the earthquake and tsunami. They ferried earthquake victims and stranded travelers to pre-position refugee camps on the island of Borneo for 3 weeks. By the end of their efforts, the 36th Airlift Squadron would deliver 4.8 million pounds of humanitarian aid. Preparations for their redeployment were being made when a tropical depression in the center of the Pacific Ocean exploded into a Category 5 typhoon headed straight for the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. The 36th Airlift Squadron was retasked to support Indo-Pacific Command's defense affected by Typhoon U2. Operating in concert with members of the Japan Air Self-Defense Force, the Philippine Air Force, and the Royal Australian Air Force, the 36th Airlift Squadron demonstrated the flexibility and rapid response provided by tactical airlift. Operation Christmas Drop concluded with donations to 20,000 people on 56 remote islands, comprising the Northern Mariana Islands, Micronesia, and Palau. The Air Force Association proudly presents the BAVA Humanitarian Mission of the Year Award to the 36th Airlift Squadron, Yokota Air Base, Japan. Thank you, General Brown. Will Lieutenant General James Slife please come forward to assist with the next award? Will Colonel Terrence Taylor and his team please come forward? The 1st Special Operations Group was responsible for the execution of 55,000 flight hours as part of a $330 million program. The group also spearheaded the time-critical support to Tyndall Air Force Base after Hurricane Michael. As the most deployed operations group in the Air Force, the group flew over 6,000 combat missions, resulting in 1,650 enemy killed. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Secretary VIRIN Orr Award to the 1st Special Operations Group, Hurlburt Field, Florida. Thank you, General Slife. Will General John Raymond please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next awards? And will Lieutenant Colonel Kyle Beatty please come forward? While deployed for the first 146 days of a 191-day deployment in support of Operations Freedom Sentinel and Resolute Support, the crew was exposed to significant risk of hostile action during multiple indirect fire attacks. They successfully executed the Space Electronic Warfare mission for 5,000 hours during 464 combat missions, producing 10,472 combat effects and resulting in 1,189 enemy combatants killed in action, 781 detained, and 4,811 items of equipment and facilities collected or destroyed. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Best Space Operations Crew Award to Deployed Space Electronic Warfare Crew, Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan. Will Lieutenant Colonel William Burrich and his team please come forward? The Weapons and Tactics Flight collected lessons learned from satellite campaigns and experiences while creating a first-of-a-kind tactics, leading to the Air Force's first orbital engagement, AFTTP 3-1. The distinctive accomplishments of the Weapons and Tactics team reflect great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General George C. Kenney Award to the 3rd Space Experimentation Squadron Weapons and Tactics Flight. Will Major David D. please come forward. Major David D. made significant contributions to the continued good health of the men and women of the United States Air Force in the areas of readiness, better care, better health, and lower cost. Major D epitomizes selflessness and professional competence of the Air Force Medical Corps. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Paul W. Myers Award to Major David D., Joint Base San Antonio, Randolph, Texas. Thank you, General Raymond. Will Major General Ricky Rupp please come forward to assist with the next award? Will Captain Leslie Green please come forward? Captain Leslie Green distinguished herself as Flight Commander, Aeromedical Staging Facility. She directs 57 staff for the Air Force's largest en route patient staging system, launching and recovering 336 missions and 7,915 patients and attendants. Further, she serves as the consultant for aeromedical staging facilities worldwide, is the patient safety manager, electronic health record manager, airfield disaster response team chief, and serves as the en route staging system director for 3 major commands. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Juanita Redmond Award to Captain Leslie Green, Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. Thank you, General Rupp. Will Major General Michael Brewer please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next award? And will Colonel Martha Monroe and the rest of her team please come forward? The Cyber Blue Book team expertly completed cyber vulnerability assessments and documented hundreds of potential vulnerabilities affecting 11 critical weapon systems valued at over $500 billion. The team provided detailed cyber analysis for integration into developmental and operational test activities. Their final reports are distributed across the Air Force enterprise and effectively increase the resiliency of air, space, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, global strike, and command and control core weapon systems. The Air Force Association proudly presents the General Mark Welsh One Air Force Award to the Cyber Blue Book team. Thank you, General Brewer. Will Chief Master Sergeant Sean Drinkard please come forward to assist with the presentation of the next award? And will Colonel Frederick Coleman and Lieutenant Colonel Keith Anderson please come forward? Colonels Coleman and Anderson led all strategic planning at United States Central Command for Operation Inherent Resolve to defeat the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. They represented the planning nexus between Central Command, 5 service components, and 2 subordinate headquarters. Their leadership of over 200 planners worldwide directly enabled all coalition operations to dismantle the Islamic State in Iraq and the Syrian Caliphate. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Citation of Honor to Colonel Coleman and Lieutenant Colonel Anderson, MacDill Air Force Base, Florida. Thank you, Chief. Will Lieutenant General Jeffrey Rockwell please come forward to assist with the presentation of our final award? Will Colonel Rebecca Vernon please come forward? Colonel Rebecca Vernon distinguished herself throughout her 23 years as a staff judge advocate, as a defense counsel, instructor, procurement attorney, professional development officer, wing staff judge advocate, and now as the staff judge advocate to Air Force Special Operations Command. Colonel Vernon consistently demonstrated excellence, initiative, leadership, and professionalism in the practice of law. The Air Force Association proudly presents the Stuart R. Reichert Award to Colonel Rebecca Vernon, Hurlburt Field, Florida. Will Secretary Donovan, General Goldfein, and Chief Wright please join Chairman Peters on stage for a special ribbon-cutting ceremony? I would also call forward our generous sponsors to join us on stage to announce the opening of the 2019 Air, Space, and Cyber Conference Technology Exposition. Mr. Secretary, would you do the honors? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy lunch in the Technology Exposition Hall downstairs. Speaker sessions will resume at 1 o'clock.